say
doesn't
it.
pick up.
It
Pick
doesn't when
up.
you go too high. Discord like auto corrects it.
I don't
So it just is
stop
you doing a
autocorrect
weird face, and then we hear D.
feed. Fuck off, Discord. Stop
Even when
chat.
you do it right, you're just saying Discord like the compression. It just goes peed.
I. Ugh.
Speed.
It's gonna be great when we can start doing these in person.
The dream. It really
That's
is.
gonna be delightful.
Well, it's not too far off as far as I'm aware, but
Yeah, no, like I mean, maybe in March we'll be able to record something because I'll be down there in March, and then this summer we should be like good to go on like doing it moderately regularly.
yeah, that could be pretty cool.
That would be sick. That would be sick.
Uh,
Uh,
well, well.
welcome to the big 2-0,
Ooh,
ladies
yeah.
and gentlemen.
The big
Uh,
dose
I would love to say we've been
settled.
doing it for 20 weeks in a row, but that's a lie.
We've artificially inflated the length of our start date to our current date by having almost a month of a hiatus.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, what can you
Oh
do?
well, it happens.
Yeah,
Uh,
we're back at it. This is gonna go up
yeah,
today.
yeah.
It was recorded the day you're seeing it, so epic.
Ooh.
Isn't that epic? Isn't that poggers?
Oh, it's delightful. Bengals just won. Just beat the
Oh
Chiefs.
yeah, yeah, they
It's
did.
pretty cool. Getting my football talk out of the way, so we don't get caught up on it. Also, I'm gonna just straight up like pull back the curtain and expose you for a fraud. Uh, Drew has prepared a cheat sheet.
Yeah, I was
So,
gonna bring it up.
okay.
It's
Yeah, Drew
because
has a cheat sheet, so we don't have periods of long silences.
yeah, so we don't repeat history.
Yeah. Those who do not know their history are doomed to repeat it. Uh,
A week ago. What?
we mentioned in a previous episode how I was thinking about doing like a connected universe of like just different fantasy stories that are connected by like either happening in the same sort of world or universe or like across continents, but not
Mm-hmm.
being directly connected.
Yeah.
And I think I'm gonna start actually like working on that
Oh,
regularly.
really?
Well, I just started a new job. This is the first time where we can have like a segment of like what's going on in your life recently where something big
Something's
actually
happened,
happened.
yeah.
Yeah. I started a new job. I hate it. It sucks. I work in a factory.
Mm.
Uh, so it is it's just like 8-hour shifts of just operating machines, doing like plastic molding. It is a killer.
It's the
And
grind.
yeah, it is the grind. And
I'm getting
right
a
now,
Discord call.
whoever that is, fuck off. We're recording this.
It's gonna. You can see it on the video. Let me
Oh, nice.
keep talking. I'm gonna send them a quick little message.
All right. Anyway, so yeah, no, it's kind of a killer at
He's
times,
doing it
but
again.
it's
Oh my god.
it's made me sorry. I'm getting a little off
Yeah,
track here.
sorry. Continue. It's.
Just
I
going-
just sent the message. Okay.
All right. So basically, I want to find stuff to fill my time so that because right now over the past week, I only started this past week. But over this past week, it's basically been I go in for my morning shifts and then I get off at 4. And I've been coming back to the house, laying down, watching Netflix, and just trying to relax. And I'm hoping to try to sort of have something I can do after work to, um, I guess, in a way, keep moving forward in terms of like production and having something going on. Like
Feeling as if you're not just wasting away.
right,
Yeah,
right.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, because it's like it's very much a like blue collar job that I'm working now, and I don't want to get sucked into the stereotypical depressing blue collar lifestyle of like work, come home, drink a beer, watch TV, and then go to work all over again. Uh, so I'm gonna try to start actually working on all that shit that I talked about. With that also is so I we talk a lot about ideas we have, um,
Yeah,
content we want to create.
we're an idea farm.
We are an
We
idea
don't
farm.
tend to act on them.
Yeah. One of the ideas that I had, I want to do like I've been thinking about doing my own content separate from H2C.
Hmm.
Um, Mostly like I've been thinking like doing like video essays type stuff, talking about just stuff that I'm passionate about, like fantasy, D&D, movies, like old school horror movies, and just that type of not necessarily overproduced content, but very like neat, refined content where I have a message, a goal to express, and then kind of just condensing it into expressing that idea. Because the majority of our content that we do is just free form. We just talk.
Yeah.
That's even in the slightly more structured stuff that we've done, like predictions and Outlast and the versus pilot.
Pilot. Yeah, pilot.
Even in those, like we have some semblance of structure because we're doing something during them, but our engagement and our interaction is still just free form us talking about shit.
Yeah.
And I want to do some slightly more refined and clearly like condensed content with a specific purpose, and me there to get to that purpose.
Hmm. You you want to, if I'm getting this correctly, you have like other types of things you want to create, and you want to do that on a personal, like, channel, I presume.
Yeah.
And to like, because it wouldn't thematically fit if
Right.
you were
And
like doing video essays on the HTC channel. It just wouldn't make
yeah,
sense.
and that's
So
basically the whole thing. Because I was in starting this, like, we could use it as like a hub for just content that we create, but I think we both came to the conclusion that it's better if we just keep like H2C at a core is me and you, and we should keep the content on H2C centered around that core element of it's me and it's you and us engaging over whatever we're doing.
yeah.
And if we do solo projects or just, side stuff that doesn't involve each other, we should keep that on a separate channel.
Hmm.
So I don't know, maybe right now I'm just going to try to focus on the writing and
Yeah.
hopefully continue to be able to produce H2C content, not just the podcast, but branching out from that as well. Blah blah blah. You've heard that. All of you have heard that spiel
Episode
1,000.
19, we went through a lot of
Yeah,
that.
we won't
Let's.
go through it again. But I'm gonna be moving to the graveyard shift after this week, I think,
Mhm.
which hopefully will help me clear up a block of time in the day that we can schedule like content creation around.
Yeah.
So that'd be good.
Well, epic.
Yep.
I was gonna like segue, but I don't fucking know. I do actually have something I want to talk about on my week.
Yeah, go ahead.
So it didn't start. No, it did start this week. Sorry, technically started at the beginning of the school semester, but it didn't come into play until this week,
Right.
the week we've just completed. And that is I am working. It's for school.
Right.
At the radio station that the school runs, which is it's called Radio Practicum, which means it's a class where you essentially you just go and work at the radio station.
Right.
And I have a short block because I'm a newbie, and I'm only going to ever be a newbie because of my last semester. But I did it to fill credits, but it is cool. And I just sit in the radio booth, and the voice on the radio where they go, "You're listening to blah 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 blah."
Mhm.
next up, we got this coming up. I literally press a button and talk into a mic, and the town can hear me.
That's cool.
And it's
That's really
cool, but nerve-wracking, because if you don't say like the tag name right or something, you can get fined by the FCC for like $10,000. And so it's like, oh shit, I could fuck up royal. All the songs are programmed or run by this program called Megaseg or Megasig. I think it's Megaseg, and it knows which order it can play them. You can't play like more than three songs by the same artist in a row. Then you break copyright. Like, it's a weird finicky rule because we live in the grand old United States of America where there's weird finicky copyright rules. And you can't. Another fun one is you cannot go. Tomorrow at 12 p.m. we're gonna play Rap God by Eminem. You can't do that because that is advertising for something you don't own.
Okay.
So you can't like predict a schedule like that. And you can't do things called guarantees, which is another fun little piece of trivia. You can't go, they got the best burgers in town. If you say that, you can get in really big trouble because that's a guarantee. You can't do calls to actions because of a lot of issues in the past. People telling people to go brigade places and picket fence things.
Right.
So you can't go like, go to Walmart and buy Twix bars. They're really good. Don't do that. That's a call to action. You cannot do that.
Right.
And there's a lot of other weird, cool, like just fun, intricate rules that are fun to think about.
Yeah.
Because like I would never do that. You can't say a bunch of cuss words, obviously. But a cool one, you can say hell, and you can say I think you can say damn it, but you can't say pissed. It's weird. There's like a list of rules like in their room. They have like all the cuss words you can't say, and they're like fuck, cunt, shit, piss. It's like just in an academic building, just a list of just prohibited words, and it's hilarious. But I mean, that's really
there is one workaround to the copyright rule that you mentioned. I don't know the specifics of it, but I do know that back in Kansas City, the radio station 98.9, it's the rock radio station in the Kansas City area, and I want to say it's like once a week they have a Metallica like hour where it's just Metallica songs played over and over and over again, like an album's worth of Metallica. And I hate it because I like rock music, and 98.9 is one of the stations I set to my preset back when I lived in Kansas City. And I always hated it because I hate Metallica.
Fucking hate them.
They have some good songs, but generally it's just
I'm indifferent to them.
I wanted to ask like, because typically it's like if a new album comes out, that's like 50 minutes to an hour of content from one creator, one band or artist.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a collaboration album or a compilation album or some shit like that. So
how do they play that?
When albums first come out, it's like I'll listen to the album straight through if it's an artist I like. But it takes a very there's like a handful of albums that I'll go and listen to all the way through, like long after it's been out. I've already heard the songs multiple times. Are you like an album listener, or do you do playlists? What's the there?
This question started as a workaround to the copyright rule and just slowly devolved over your explanation to asking me how I listen to music.
Yeah.
Let me answer the first part. They probably pay a lot of money to be able to do that. They probably got rights or something. That's my only explanation, because we don't do that. We just play like top 40. And the second question is, I don't sit and listen to music too often. It's usually complements another activity, whether it be gaming, working, like on schoolwork, cleaning. If I'm like cleaning my apartment or something, I will put on headphones and listen to some tunes while doing it.
Right.
I sometimes if it's like I don't know what's coming out. Like if someone releases a new album, like an artist that I like releases an album, it's like I know about it day of because someone brought it up.
Yeah.
I have no clue. Like I don't even know. Like, do you like hear about this through the grapevine? Like I have no idea where people are getting this information. It's like, oh, it's coming out soon. But if that's the case, I might like skim through it to see if there's songs on it I'd like to add to my like intense growing playlist of like
Right.
insane. It's just like 7 million genres. Like nothing makes sense thematically, but it's my hub for like all the things I like. So that's how I do music because I've never been like a sit down, put on headphones, and just chill and listen to music. I don't treat it as its own media. I treat it as a complementary media.
Sure.
It comes with something.
Sure. And I get that too because I use Spotify and I know they're in hot shit right now.
Are they?
They are, yeah.
I don't use Spotify. I use Apple Music because I have it, like the premium because of our plan or whatever. So it's already have premium.
I got premium for Spotify a long time ago and I've just stuck with it. They're in some pretty hot shit right now because there were some artists who called out Spotify for because they heavily promote like the Joe Rogan podcast. And there was like
it's because they
I think
paid a fuck ton to have it on there exclusive.
And like Neil Young was like, "Hey, Joe Rogan spreads a lot of misinformation.
He's kind of a dummy.
That shit out." And Spotify said no. So Neil Young and now a couple other artists are pulling their music off of Spotify. Also, generally, like Spotify underpays.
They do. Yeah.
So they're in a lot of hot shit right now.
They can't do anything about Joe Rogan though, because you know how much money they probably paid to do that.
Yeah.
That they're not going to touch that because they paid that much. It's like, well, I'm sorry, bro, but we paid like $3 gazillion. I'm not messing with it. So that's why they're not going to do anything. Like, think about it realistically here.
Yeah. Anyway, coming back to the main topic.
Yeah.
So I have on my Spotify, like you have a liked songs playlist, which is just every song that you like gets added to this playlist. I have like 2,500 songs on there. And typically I'll shuffle all of it, and it's a huge mixed bag of just every genre.
Hodgepodge of just...
There's musical songs from musicals on there. There are like sometimes I'll like a full album, and like artists sometimes will put like interludes or like intros, or it's
skits.
Just like skits or like
rap
silence.
albums and their skits are the
Yeah. So I have all a bunch of like skits and just like 30-second clips of just one random noise or some shit that are used as like album intros. So it's a very strange mixed bag.
For me, if I have anything like that, it's from like weird artistic like old rock like albums, or like where it's like they were in like hippie rock stage where they were doing weird artistic shit. So it'll be like, oh, I brought over this entire album for something, and it will be like train honks and an oncoming train noise. I'm like, is this the intro to a song? And I look and it's like a 30-second audio clip, and I'm like, what the fuck is this on here for?
Yeah.
It's like, because it's out of context, because those are, you're supposed to listen to it like through and through. Like I actually have behind me here,
Shoutouts to Scarface.
I have this here, right? You're supposed
Very
to listen to this all the way through.
Yes.
I didn't do that when I first listened to it because I was like looking for a specific song, and when you do that, they don't like start and end.
Right.
It just kind of, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So it's, I have a lot of that. So I'm in a similar
Stories,
boat. Yeah.
Albums that are meant to connect with each other and be experienced as one singular piece
thing.
of
It's like a project less than a it's not a it makes adding things to a playlist really tedious.
Right.
So I've purged all my shit recently, so my playlist actually is like literally like 30 songs now. I purged everything because it was getting annoying listening to stuff I put on that playlist when I was 13.
Right.
So, yeah, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Just how I explore the genre. Have you ever been a music man? You ever tried to make some tunes?
I was in band for like 3 years. I played the trumpet.
Oh.
I don't remember much about how to play the trumpet anymore. Um, I have a guitar behind me that I've been saying that I'm going to get around to learning how to play. And yeah, well, I mean, the audience knows how that goes. Us saying we're going to do something and, you know, it'll happen when it happens.
We're flaky.
We're a little flaky.
Well, I think we're too ambitious for our current lives. We have a lot of things that come up and things that change. We're in a very change-heavy part of our life.
Yeah.
And so when we this is set in stone, we're going to do this on a weekly basis, it's like, that's tough to guarantee, especially in like where we're at now. It's just not going to happen. So
yeah, and with like, I'm working a full-time job, and you're a full-time student in your last semester, so not only like it's hard to make our schedules line up because they're fundamentally different.
yeah, mine's more scattered, and yours is structured.
Right. So I have this block of time like every day where it's like, okay, I'm free this time, but for you that it changes every day and every week as to when you're going to be available. So it's just hard to coordinate stuff. I mean, it'll be a big change, hopefully, this like coming summer and beyond. Like you graduating and me, hopefully, having a big change in my life that I'm not going to go into too much detail just yet on the podcast.
But, as to put the wrench in what's going on, right? We keep straying back into talking about planning the channel. I'm going to try to rein that back because we've had some constructive criticism. So,
Right.
The way I worded that sounds condescending. I appreciate the criticism. Keep bringing it. I actually do, as I have a list of topics. I'm excited about it.
Do ASMR.
I don't like that. That's not a good one for me.
I like that. I love it.
I got to bring this up.
All right, bring it up. Lay it on. Hit me with it.
Sorry. That was
Sure.
I just had something came from the top of my nose to the throat, and that wasn't fun.
Homie, we don't need that information.
It's too late. It's already there.
You don't have to give us that much detail.
What the fuck is Wordle?
You don't know what Wordle is?
No, I just see a bunch of cubes being posted on my Twitter timeline by every fucker on the planet, and it's annoying. I don't know what it is.
That's great. Wordle is basically it's you go on this website, play the game Wordle, and you're trying to get a 5-letter word. Okay. Every day it's a different 5-letter word, and how it works is you insert a 5-letter word, and it scans over them, and if none of those letters are, for the letters that aren't in the keyword you're trying to get, it'll light them up like gray. If the letter is in the word but in the wrong spot, it'll light it up yellow, and if it's a letter that's in the word and is in the right spot on the word, it'll light it up green. And basically you just guess words, getting more and more clues with each guess to try to find what that keyword is. It's a very simple, there's not a whole lot going on. It's just simple, process of elimination, trying to figure out what word it could be. Lots of just, thinking about all the 5-letter words you know. And I think it's really popular because it's quick. It takes, a couple minutes to do it. And it has that sort of air of exclusivity and variety, in that every day the word changes, and you can't go back and play previous days. You get one attempt per day where you log on for 2, 3, 4 minutes, try to get that word, and then you get to move on from there. And the reason you see all these squares on like Twitter is at the end, after you get the word, it has a share button where it'll copy the squares, and then you can post it to Twitter. And hey, I got
Flex
the
that
word.
you got it.
I got the word in 3 tries. Sick.
I thought it was way more intricate and complex than
It's
I thought
not.
it was like a trend
Totally
or
simple.
something, like the squares mean something kind of thing, like
Right.
like a code.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed.
It's all some secret code that will help you track down the Illuminati and join them and become a gazillionaire and a reptilian who gets to control the world from the shadows.
That's a good. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You stumble down an alleyway
All right.
and some guy in a fucking trench coat. He pulls off the hood of the trench coat, right?
Sure.
He's a lizard man. He goes,
Hooded trench coat,
lizard man. He reveals he's a lizard, and he goes, "We've been watching you from the shadows. We
Right.
want you to be part of our secret organization. Think of it as you think of the Illuminati.
Okay.
You are allowed to join. Do you want in?" And he asks you,
100%.
and he goes, "If you say no, you get memory. You do it."
The only holdup, so I would, okay. My immediate reaction would be like, that's a really nice costume.
That's what I would think too. It's fake,
So
right?
I would be like, I would take a moment. I'm gonna look for the cameras. I'm gonna try to examine the lizard person if it's a costume or not. If I am sufficiently like come to the conclusion that this is a real thing that's really happening, I'm 100% joining the secret organization.
You join the New World Order or whatever the fuck it would.
Without a
It wouldn't be called the Illuminati because everyone knows that's called the Illuminati. You know.
Right.
I totally would do it.
Yeah.
Only people who are like only conspiracy theorists would say no because they have like preconceived notions, right?
Yeah.
If you go in there blind, bro, that's like top tier clout. Like I don't know, like bro, that's so sick. I would love to see how everything works behind the scenes.
It's like the fucking like vampirism in every vampire show or movie that exists, where it's like, oh no, you don't want to be a vampire. It's so terrible and awful. Except no, everybody
Except it's
wants to
sick
be a
as
vampire.
fuck. The only bad part is I like being outside in the sun and stuff. Outside of that, super strength or fucking fly. I don't know what the traditional power. I know that sometimes it could turn into bats and shit. Either way, like it's just superpowers for like two downsides. That's it.
Yeah.
It's like those,
And like
yeah.
depending on what universe you're in, there's like counters to those downsides too.
I can wear a really big hat and I can walk around outside.
It's like I like the Vampire Diaries universe. There's the Vampire Diaries and then 2 like sequel series to it. And in it you can get around the sunlight by having a magic ring that you wear. So it's like
Skyrim.
why would you not? And there's like tons of people who can just like you can drink animal blood if you don't want to kill people.
There's literally no downsides in that universe. It's just like you get to be dope as fuck.
Yeah, you get to be dope as fuck, and that's that.
That the only I guess besides that, I don't know if that negates right the like human food. Can you eat it at all? Because I would miss a burger, right? Like I would miss a burger. But
in Vampire Diaries, I think you can. It just doesn't do anything for you, like nutrition wise.
do vampires shit?
E-
Think about that though. They eat liquid and only liquid.
I mean, even people on liquid diets still have to shit, just less.
But what are they shitting?
There's still like nutrients in it that build up.
Yeah, but poop is the leftovers that are all the nutrients is sucked out of it. If it's pure nutrients, there'd be nothing left.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
yeah, but it's like IV drip. Like if you are on an IV drip diet where it's pure nutrient, but there's always some degree of byproduct.
So they have like soft serve turds like once a fucking month. How does that work? The real question is, how do they process blood? Do they? Is it like how we process food? They pull nutrients from it, or is it some like magic shit? Because if it's like they pull nutrients, then they have waste. Because there's some parts that aren't needed. Like I doubt they need fucking, I don't know, whatever's in blood. So like there's something in there they don't need. They don't need white blood cells, I guess. There we go.
There's some sort of magical element.
Uh,
Because in the Vampire Diaries universe, vampires are like inherently magical.
they don't shit.
I don't know if they shit or not.
That's the question we need
answer
answers to. Do vampires shit? That's important. I think it's more important than one would think.
If I ever write a story that features vampires, I will confirm or deny whether they shit in the first scene.
The first scene.
The first scene is a vampire coming out of a bathroom. Like, whoo, that was a hefty one.
I guess if they can eat human food, they would.
Yeah.
Because it has to go somewhere. But if they don't pull nutrients from it, it would
just a solid burger. Just a full fucking burger.
Just stand up. They stand up from the toilet and forget to flush or something. Some guy walks in and there's like whole ass McDonald's chicken nuggets in the toilet.
And wait, they would actually be like completely clean too, because there isn't any like waste material through your intestines and stuff.
Well, I mean, they'd be like wet.
Yeah.
Gross and soggy and covered in human juice.
Wet chicken nuggets.
Oh, that is disgusting.
That's vile.
That is absolutely rancid. Oh my god.
I hate all that.
I'm looping back to the Illuminati, where this all kind of started. I have a big issue. I was watching a video, and it's flat earthers and scientists like discussing topics. Like someone will ask a topic, and then they sit down, both sides, and they talk about their opinion on this topic. And I never have gotten shaking to the point, like angry to the point of shaking, except when I watch this video. Because flat earthers, it's one of those things, I don't remember the name of the terminology, like if there's a word for this phenomenon, but it's someone so dumb they don't know they're dumb. Right. And it's like, literally, they'll have their answers, their questions answered 5 seconds after they ask them by these scientists. But since they've already set up their mind, it just goes whoop, whoop. And so they will literally ignore it. Not to the point of like, what does that do? Like, they will literally just be like, that doesn't answer my question. But it does answer your question. Right. And I've been so fucking mad.
That's everything these days. That's politics. That's religion. That's
politics though, like politics is different because there's like, you have an opinion on this topic, and then this person has a opinion on this topic, and they'll have conversations and they'll do this. No one's gonna change their mind at all. Let's be real. But there is some form of an intelligent discussion happening, whether or not it's good or really that intelligent. Like these conversations I'm talking about, it was legitimately like trying to convince someone. You would have had better time convincing me that unicorns are real and you saw one yesterday. Like it was that like brick wall. Like I would have been like, if you tried to do that, I would be like, no you didn't, brick wall. It was the same way, but it was something so trivial as the shape of the earth. It's like, and then the best fucking part is at the end of, like, near the end of the episode, this guy's like, I have really one question for you though. Like, you say all these people are like hiding the shape of the earth. And he's like, why? And then there was literally just silence. And then this one lady goes, the money. I'm like, what do you mean the money? And she's like, there's money. Look at the money circulating. And it was just vague answers because they clearly have no fucking clue. They never thought about it. Like, why?
Have you heard the hollow earth theory?
I know what it is.
And like how there's a second earth inside the earth.
That'd be cool, but I have
full of fucking elves and shit.
I have not heard of. I didn't know it was a theory. I thought this was like mythical tales shit.
No, there's like there's this dude who is this very famous like pilot or whatever, like Air Force guy or some shit
Mm.
that flew over like Antarctica or some shit like that.
He saw a
And
hole. He's
and
like,
that's
yeah.
his claim. He's like, yeah, I flew over and there's like an entrance like to the Earth within the Earth where there's all sorts of mythical creatures and shit.
How did he see that far? We don't ask that question, okay?
My fucking my dad is like he's one of those types of people that's like anything's a valid theory. Like
Yeah, sure, bud.
you will entertain any sort of like idea that that exists with the like we don't know.
Sure, bud. Yeah, sure.
I love sitting there just listening to all the like okay,
The
sure,
insane
yeah,
stuff.
yep, all right. The Earth is there's a second Earth within the Earth. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Agartha, actually.
Yeah,
I think it's
Agartha.
called Agartha.
It's the gateway to Agartha, like Samantha Maxis tells us in Origins.
Yeah, every 15 seconds. Have you heard about the secret space program?
Which one?
It's called the secret space program. It is the name of it is the name of a group of conspiracy theories that all kind of interwork into this universe they've created. It almost feels like a fiction work, like the SCP Foundation, but these people believe in it 100%.
Okay.
And the core part of this belief system is that in like World War II, the Nazis went to the moon.
Okay.
And they pulled a Black Ops 1 and they built a moon base.
Right.
But on this moon base they were making super soldiers. Like,
Sure.
you know, classic.
This is the plot of Black Ops and Black Ops 2.
Literally just a plot of COD zombies.
Right.
And they were making super soldiers, only they succeeded. They made people who were like badass super soldier people. But they like revolted or something against these people, against the Nazis, because, you know, Nazis bad. And you'll see why.
Sure.
I'll explain why. But they revolted and left. But then they died, like, of old age or something. I don't know. And it goes back into the past, too, like, before World War II. Like, there's deep lore that I'm not aware of.
Okay.
And so everyone who believes that this is a thing that has happened thinks that they are a reincarnation of one of these super soldiers who were created by the evil Nazis.
Right.
And they like talk about that's why they emphasis on the revolt against the Nazis, because if they don't emphasize that, you were a Nazi?
Right. Yeah.
But they revolted. They bring it up a lot, okay? But the Nazi super soldier experiment people, the super soldiers, were reincarnations of historical figures. So these people will be like, I was this person, then this person, this person, this person, then I'm me now. Yeah. And it's like this guy was like, yeah, I was literally Jesus.
Yeah.
And then this other dude's like, well, I was this, I was that, and then some dude's like, yeah, I was a samurai, and like they just make it up, like they just. And the best part is there's like aliens and shit, and so there's aliens in this. Of course, there's aliens, right?
Of course, there's aliens.
Of course, there's the Greys, you know, of course.
The Greys.
And they have superpowers, of course. Mind reading, obviously, duh. And the best part is, I watched a video. This guy went to one of these like meetups, and they believe everything that happened in the movie Avatar was real. Like blue people Avatar, that one.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
So there's people who are like, I'm a reincarnated blue Avatar alien. And I knew, they're like, oh, I knew Jake Sully or whatever his name was. And then the best part was they had a straight face. Everyone's taking this 100% seriously.
Right.
A slideshow's happening. Slideshow. just words and text, and then all of a sudden, next page, the Umbrella Corporation logo.
Oh
And you're
my
like, oh
God.
fuck it, what's happening? And this literally like 50-year-old woman is standing there straight faced, like, the Umbrella Corporation was a corporate, like, talking about it as if it's real. But the
Right.
best part is, it's the movie universe. So it's not even the good Resident Evil. And they literally have a slide, and it's a picture of the movie of Wesker. From the movie. And they're like, the leader of the corporation, Wesker. And they're all sitting there. The best part, they're all sitting there like taking notes. It's amazing.
I have so many branching off points.
It's so fucking hilarious. And the video I got this from, they went and infiltrated. They pretended to be part of this group, and they had someone who psychic spoon bending training, and they held the spoon. And the best part is, they went oh no no and started doing this like old lady. Oh no, and she grabs it, she bends it with her hands. And then there was one where they showed up for what was scheduled, an event that was scheduled to be happening in their hotel. Jedi training. To be a Jedi.
Yeah.
And they showed up and it wasn't there. And they're like, what's going on? And it just never happened. But they believe like all that shit's real. It's amazing. It was one of the best videos I've ever watched in my entire life.
When you first brought this up, it made me think of something. And it's, do you think that like thousands of years from now, as when the aliens that take over are, going through the rubble of what Earth used to be, do you think they'll uncover like shit like the SCP shit and think it was real?
I want them to make them very scared. Because eventually they'd like decipher our language and they'd read it and they'd be like, oh my god, what the fuck was going on? Oh shit, this one's immortal? Where is it? They'd be scared that it's gonna come get them. What do you mean there's a woman we have to torture at all points of times, or an evil god will enter and destroy the universe? Where is she? That's one of them, by the way. That is terrifying
awesome.
and funny. I want that to be what they find. I either want them to find the SCP universe, like the website or something, or I want them to find memes. I want them to find like just little. Like, I want them to try to build our history through memes.
Right.
I think that would be funny. Like,
That
they
would
really
be.
liked this green frog. We don't know why. That and cats. And this yellow dog. They're really into that. We don't really get it. But, I mean, hey, each society is different.
Green frogs. It's like a pantheon of gods that they used to worship.
For real.
That'd be sick.
They really didn't like this Hillary lady. Like, all the political memes.
Yeah.
This must have been like a rival nation leader or something. Or like, oh, dude. That's funny to think about, that they could build our society off of just weird shit they find.
I want them to find the picture of Bernie, where he's like, he's at the rally, but it's Photoshop, so he's in like a trench coat. He has an eye patch, a scar across his face.
Punished Bernie. Punished
like
Bernie.
It looks like
He's fucking Snake.
like a militia leader. I want them to find that. That'd be funny.
They must have really liked this Hugo Chavez guy. Is that the dude on the shirts? They could misinterpret so much, and it's so fun to think about that.
Yeah.
the way like that's my favorite part of like dystopian future media is when it's a society that's like humans, but there was like a apocalyptic event that wiped humans out, then they like came back, whether they extinct and then they re-evolved, or like hundreds of years of like living as tribes and stuff, the knowledge evaporates away, and then they're just, and it's like what is that? It's a fork, and it's like, oh, it was used to torture people or something. And it's like the funniest. Like, I love that. I find that hilarious. Just weird.
Have you seen? There's a. I mean, it's a good idea, but it was poor execution. There's a CW show called The 100.
Oh, I know what that is. I've watched some of it.
Yeah, they kind of toy with that a little bit, where it's like there's this big apocalyptic event, and then like half of them go to space, and then half of them are like stuck on Earth, and the one you're being invaded.
Someone above me dropped something.
But like the ones that were on Earth like evolved into like tribes and shit, and of course the ones in space knew history and shit. So they kind of toy with that a little bit.
Mm-hmm. That's a interesting. From what I've seen of that show, I didn't watch too far into it. I got to the point where they're like, "There's other people." They thought there's not just us.
Yeah.
But then I was like, "Oh, this is getting stupid." And they're all like children actors, but they're taking it really seriously.
Yeah.
Like in what universe would they ever be like, "Let's send all of our kids to Earth after it's been destroyed," and they're totally going to not fuck around. I forgot what we were talking about beforehand.
Me too. So let's go to the cheat sheet and find a new topic. You prepared it for a reason.
Yeah, I'm trying to like. We literally no segue. We just stopped in the middle of the conversation. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Who cares?
Who cares?
Who cares?
Nobody cares. Nobody's even watching this far into the video. You mean Max?
No one does, I know Max. Calling you out, Max. I actually have a question for you.
All right, I got an answer for you. Do you know how
what?
For some transparency to the audience, a big part of the podcast starting was because me and Drew have we had a few moments where a topic would arise and we would have very long, heated arguments over.
And that's yet to happen once.
I mean, yeah, it's never happened. We have always been in agreement on just about everything we've brought up.
I think it's because the things we disagree on are so like out of the way of normal conversation.
Right.
Because for the most part, when it comes to like, especially media, which we talk about media a lot, whether it be games, movies, TV, we tend to fall in line. And if there is a disagreement, it's like, well, I can see where you're coming from. So there's like an understanding. So there's nothing really. What?
Can I make a comment on the production value of the Halfway to Concord podcast?
What's wrong?
You cannot wear hats like those.
Is it covering my eye?
It is covering one eye all the time and both eyes some of the time.
The main reason why is because my hair is a mess right now, and I didn't want to have it. I usually try not to have a hat on, or if I do, I like have my one that's like this.
Yeah.
But it's like I need to like flint roller it because it's corduroy, the material, so it picks up a bunch of shit. And so I need to find a way to get all that shit off of it. So I'm wearing this as a replacement. I did notice that. It does irk me as well.
Yeah. I don't care that much, and I don't think the audience cares at all. But for the sake of pretending we're far fancier than we are, in the future, don't do that.
Yeah, no, I try not to. I'm aware of it. It's because like my hair literally looked vile. It looked disgusting. Yeah. So I was like, because I napped most of the day, so my head was pushed against a pillow. But yeah, I was gonna ask. I wanted to get your opinion on a very important topic. Actually important, actually serious. Okay. I'm like, no joke, no cap.
No
Russia.
Cap,
Russia. I'm assuming you're aware of what's going on.
I'm very aware of the current issues between Russia and Ukraine and the United States and other relevant parties.
I am. What weirds me out is that this is very clearly an escalation, but no one seems to be paying attention.
Right.
Like, they're legitimately sending an army to the
Yeah.
borders of another country.
Yeah.
And the other country's like, bro, we are like in danger right now. And we're just like, don't do that. Like,
Yeah,
what the fuck,
yeah.
dude?
Yeah,
Like,
this is some very serious shit. There's regions of Ukraine that are like separatist, like dominated areas that are like inviting this sort of conflict.
separate, like separate
Like
from Russia,
from
or
Ukraine.
so like they want to they're pro Russia taking over.
Yes.
I'm assuming it's economy based. That's usually how it works.
Yes. This is a serious, an
This,
actually serious thing that's going on right now.
because of our self-given role as like, I'm gonna butt into everything that happens.
Yeah.
I'm worried for intervention and possible escalation to the point of a real big boy war. Because
Yeah.
that's some scary shit. Because there hasn't been a war between like government v government in a long ass time. It was, I believe, this the time from, I think, World War II is what they call it. Because the rest were like proxy wars that they don't count as like nation v nation. They're still wars. They're just not nation wars.
Vietnam War.
I don't think that counts because it's like they don't count those in the terminology I'm using. I don't consider it like not a war, but like,
Yeah.
I'm talking about the terminology coined by literally one dude, and it's called like the long peace or something, and it's
Okay.
like the longest point in time we've ever had where it's not like literally like nation wanting to take the land of another nation, like old
Sure.
shit. Like that stuff hasn't been around a fat minute. And this
Right.
will be the first instance of that when it most likely inevitably happens. I think they've made up their mind. They're going to invade Ukraine. So
Right.
it's really a decision for Ukraine now. Do they go, okay, or do they fight back?
Yeah.
And it comes down to their people and what the people want. So
Right.
it's going to get spooky. And since we are most likely, I think we have some eggs in their basket, so we might intervene, which means potentially war with Russia. Keck
Yeah.
W.
Yeah.
Christ almighty, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I am very much in favor of having Ukraine's back and supportive of Ukraine telling Russia to fuck right off.
It seems like it feels like the right thing to do.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not the most morally correct human being on the planet, but I'm very much against other countries just showing up and saying, "Give me your land, it's mine now."
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's a. I was talking about it with my father, like, yes, 2 days ago, and yeah, it feels like this could absolutely be like a big actual big boy war.
In my notes I put possible World War III question mark. Almost like it's anticipation, like, ooh, the sequel. But it genuinely, like, if it becomes like, I feel like what it would be is kind of like how we did Vietnam and Korea, where it was like we just kind of, it wasn't us versus them, it was us helping these two people fight. Only in this case, it'll be us helping the little guys fight the giant monster, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if that'll, even if it will even reach combat, we might make an agreement with them. Because, like, we were worried about combat with, like, Iran, remember that?
Yeah.
And we kind of just, like, okay, we reached an agreement. But the issue is, we aren't the one they're mad at.
Right.
And no one's really mad. Well, Ukraine is, but Russia just wants shit.
Yeah.
We can't negotiate anything because we're not what they want, and Ukraine is dead set on not giving them it. It's almost inevitable, and so it's like this. Like I'm in a car heading towards a wall, and I'm like, fuck, 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 and the brakes don't work.
it's a situation like uh it has been proven that appeasement does not work.
Not with Russia, no.
Not with Russia, but just historically, like that was the whole thing about Hitler's rise. And like, sure, Hitler, we'll let you do what you want, get your land, whatever, and then eventually that becomes a much bigger issue.
Yeah, it was
It's
like Czechoslovakia or whatever.
Yeah, it's like Czechoslovakia and like Austria, and then like once it was Poland, it was like, okay, stop now. It would be the same shit with Russia if we try to make some peace agreement with them and let them have land, or try to stay out of it, like and just let Ukraine get rolled, then Russia's going to be like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
Now let's take Poland and Czechoslovakia and everywhere else.
Yeah. I don't think Russia is ambitious to the point of like Nazi Germany, let's take over the world. But I think they want to recreate the Soviet Union, which was, like Ukraine, all those like little tiny European nations that kind of like bordered, they kind of checker the area around Russia. Like they want all that because they have this idea of like returning to the glory of the Soviet Union, especially in their like government, like the government ideology. The people, I don't know, but the government is like very much restore the greatness, even though it wasn't that great. But
I'm like, listen, I'm a comrade just like any other young left-leaning individual these days. That's not how it is anymore with the Soviet Union, with Russia. It's very much just like superpowers trying to get more super.
Yeah. And
that is going to do no good for anyone other than the people who would profit off of it in Russia.
The only issue now is there's one factor that doesn't exist, or there's multiple, obviously, but one very important one that didn't exist before, but that exists now, and that's nuclear weapons. Because now we have a end the world button. Everyone has this end of the world button, and whoever presses it first wins for like 15 minutes. And they really want that 15 minutes. Before they turn into scorched earth.
Yeah, toast it, get their champagne toasts out. Hey, we won! Oh, we're all dead now.
Yeah, because everyone else has things in place to immediately launch some after, and like every country has nukes now, like at least one.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't think we would ever launch nukes, because like when we launched the initial two, those were the only two that existed.
Right.
So no one would launch them back. And there was like some logistical shit beyond it. I don't know. I'm not a scientist, and I don't know the numbers. But now I think we're aware now of the issue that is mad. And Russia seems a lot more of a loose cannon.
Yeah.
And so I'm very concerned for if a conflict does arise to reach World War III levels, I think it's like the closest we will ever be to total human annihilation.
I think World War III would end up being one of the shortest wars.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Because it would just escalate to nuclear warfare and then scorched earth.
Either nuclear warfare or like mass bombings via drones and such.
Yeah.
Like ground fighting is very much isolated to small environment. Like you're not going to have big Western fronts, or it's a scary world we're living in now. And I very much hope Russia decides to grow a brain and pull back. But they won't.
I'm constantly teetering on like, we should just like, I don't want people to die, so let's establish a peace and stick to it. And like, fuck it, let's restart. Scorched earth, motherfucker. Start over.
The issue with restarting, though, because like some places, I feel like a hard reset's not possible.
Yeah.
Because like some countries aren't gonna get nuked. Like, let's be real.
Sure.
Like, who has beef with Norway? No one has beef with Norway. Switzerland? I don't think so. So like there's a lot of those countries that like they're not, and they are very much, they're not like beacons of morality or anything. So there's always
Oh,
going to be
oh,
a return to,
yeah.
from the
I get
outside looking in, it looks
yeah.
like that. And then you talk about their politics with one of their citizens, and they talk about how their senator diddles kids or something, and you're like, oh, okay. No, like you hear shit like that all the time. I love the Canada one's great. Canada is their political space is almost as volatile as ours, and it's so weird learning about it. I
Yeah.
watched a couple of videos talking about it. But yeah, it's just, I don't think a hard reset's possible, so I'd like to prevent that.
Yes.
That, and I want
I,
to live longer.
the the yin and yang, the dog inside of me that barks for a scorched earth hard reset is obviously held in check at all times by the rational human being that I pretend to be. Uh, a hard reset wouldn't work anyway because like the people who have access to the fucking bunkers and shit that are gonna survive it are the
Yeah,
assholes that made all of this happen anyway.
they're the guys who press the fucking buttons.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, yeah, like think of our government, the nuclear football, which is that briefcase.
Hmm.
It's always in the hands of the president, or like not
Hmm.
always, obviously, but like in that scenario, it would be. So like
Yeah.
the issue is still there, and then we
Right.
still have we will still know how to make nukes because they'll have scientists. So like you would have to like literally destroy, you would need like a apocalyptic event to the point of like extermination on a mass scale to wipe out that knowledge to do a hard reset. And
Yeah.
one, that's terrible and I would not want that. And two,
Yep.
uh
That's all lives lost.
yeah, and two, I don't think it's possible with human means. I think it's a lot harder to wipe our species off the planet than one would think. The best way is probably disease, I
Yeah.
feel.
I want to hurry up and get to Mars and establish my kingdom there so that I can, when you start accepting people in, I can establish a vetting process to keep all the assholes that have destroyed Earth out. So we never end up in situations,
I
or
think
we
that's
can
the
prolong
plot.
it.
That's the plot of Infinite Warfare. There's a colony of space people. I believe they're on Mars. I don't know because I didn't play that game. And then they're fighting the Earth people. Like
Oh,
that's the plot to that video game.
plot of I mean, hey, whatever.
So
I'm gonna
this
do it right though.
that's a one last question before we end off because we're kind of reaching a bit of a length here. But
Sure, sure.
if there is an alternate, if there's a, do you think whoever discovers a planet, do you think that it will be like a country owned, or like are they gonna be their own thing?
Um,
Will there be a space war? There can't be for the first initial like getting to Mars. We won't have the means to fight because the distance is too far. It would be like really
I
easy to
definitely
prevent.
I think whoever gets there, like there will be like a moment of this is my area. I am the ruler. Uh I think it would become its own like independent faction. I don't think someone who arrives there would be like, well, this is now property of the United States, Russia,
We'll ask
whoever
most,
there.
a big chunk of America, and they want to put an American flag on that planet. So
Yeah, but
it
I don't
because of patriotism and all that. But
it wouldn't be them
I
though who got there first.
well
It's not going to be the Patriots who get there.
think
It's
if
gonna be
they,
the
well,
poor chills.
depends on who, like by the time we're able to get to Mars, there could be uh hypothetical example SpaceX because they're kind of leading the charge right now.
Yeah.
They to give it like 10 years, right? And then we're reaching a point where we're starting to think about it.
Yeah.
They could be funded by the government to the point of like, hey, when you get there, you better plop down an American flag, where it's
But
like an unspoken thing.
how is the government going to put them in check for that though?
Uh,
You're gonna spend all that time coming to Mars
we'll
to
break
come.
apart your company. They'll break it up.
They won't care. They'll be on Mars.
No, because they can't bring everything. right? It's one or two ships, right? They can't. The core. It's kind of like I watch a. I'm trying to find a good example. So like, Japanese video game companies will release their game here.
Okay.
And we like, you can't do that here. There's this thing you've done we don't like. You can't do it.
Okay.
We are Mars in this scenario.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Their company's based there still. They can't pull it all over, and they have no need to right now. Sure. So anything that happens there is more important than happens here, even if this is their objective at this point in time. They're still based there. So I think a threat of the government, because the government can. We pretend that they like can't because it's against the rules. But if they wanted to, they can be like, "Ha, company, you're gone." So like, I feel like they would threaten that.
I think like maybe on the initial like the one or two ships that go to prove that it's like a thing that could happen. But once that period's gone and the like actual mass exodus from Earth to Mars happens, whoever arrives there first with enough resources to firmly establish a base will become an independent faction.
Maybe. I don't know. It feels like I feel like there would be rigorous planning before they even launch the first missions to make sure that doesn't happen.
I don't think it's gonna matter. I think it's one of those I think it's like a fantasy rule. It's like how like nothing actually prevents like war from happening.
There'll always be that.
Other than threat of like their consequences. Mm-hmm. I think all it takes is someone to get there and be like, I'm ready to go to war, and they'll do it. I think it's a societal binding that I don't think would actually hold up.
I don't think anyone could. Like, there's going to be a huge gap of history where no war between planets will be possible because of the time it takes to get to and from. There'll be like terrorist attacks, like people coming, because initially the first people coming can't come back. That's been stated like as a fact. Just tough luck, bucko. If you signed up, you're gone. You ain't coming back. You're gonna die there.
Right.
But like 100 years down the line, we're going to and from. It's like 3-day travel or something. I don't know. We figure it out. There's going to be like terrorist attacks, blowing up the ship midway, blowing up the whatever an airport would be for space, spaceport, blowing those out. Like there'll be like little like terrorist like thing. They'll be like they're the separatists or whatever, like Star Wars. But I feel like war would be very hard until like we advance technology far enough, and I think there'd be too many blocking factors. Like people in power would put too much stuff to prevent that in place. Like they'll crack down on it really quick, I think, because I think a government will be established with the first people, even if they can't come back, and it will probably be a proxy of an American government because SpaceX is American company, and Elon Musk is a red-blooded American. I don't know if I feel like he would though, just because it's a baseline that he would work off of. But
isn't Elon Musk not American?
He's not. No, he's from South Africa, I believe.
Yeah,
but he lives here, and I don't know. I feel like there's stuff behind the scenes we don't know about. Like I feel like they've planned this already. I feel like there's a plan for Mars society already there. Like we just don't know about it. So
well, you don't know about it. I'm the future king of Mars, so
did the lizard come meet you in the alley?
Yeah, when you gave me that hypothetical, I was like, how do you know?
Yeah,
how did you know how that went down?
Anyway, I got my sources.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. If you made it this far, I love you. Make sure to subscribe. You obviously love watching us if you just watched us for an hour. So just subscribe and watch our other content. Like, comment, do all the YouTube shit. Thank you so much for watching. Any last words, Drew?
All hail the future king of Mars.
Hell yeah. Long live the king.
Long live. Deuces.